very, very significant chart, because what that chart shows is the criminal act that was committed in Frankfurt in the last day of the session. What they did was pass a bill. They overrode the governor's veto on the tax reform bill, which was a horrible bill to begin with, and then they made it worse by putting another bill through. And they did this without any public hearing, without the 3-day notice, without any public input whatsoever. And in that bill, and the reason this chart's so you can't see it, but if you still have it in your recycle bin, get it out. But it's also on the web, online. But what it shows is the poorest people, that blue bar right there, the poorest people are going to pay more as a percentage of their income. These are the wealthy people over here. These are the people who make $175,000 and up. These people make $427,000 and up. That's how much of a decrease they have in their taxes. Okay? So what you've seen here is with the Republican takeover, and I'm not going to say the Democrats are all innocent either. They've done these kinds of things on occasion too. But what this Republican-led legislature has done, and did in the last really 2 days of the session, they worked out a deal with AT&T and with Spectrum and with manufacturing companies throughout the state to cut a deal to make the tax reform bill that was vetoed by the governor, and the House and Senate overrode that veto. They made that tax bill in a separate bill even worse and favored more giveaways to these wealthy corporations. And that was to the detriment of the whole state. There was no public input on that. There were no public hearings. There was no opportunity to even know what they were doing. And quite frankly, what happened was paid lobbyists, and they're highly paid in Frankfurt. They're hired guns that the corporations will go out and say, who's the best lobbyist? We'll pay him what it takes to get this job done. So those lobbyists meet behind closed doors with legislative leaders and cut these deals. And in this occasion, that bill came to us with, what do we have, Al? Less than 6 hours to even understand what was in the bill. And they expected us to pass it. And it did pass by one vote. At least some of the Republicans were enlightened, and all the Democrats voted against it. But what is more egregious, I think, is the method in which it was done. It was done in secret. It was done cutting a deal with wealthy corporations, and their ambassadors, their lobbyists that go in and do these kinds of things. So I think that's just an example of what's happening here and now. I think the other thing we need to be